welcome to the Breakdown Studio Live with Grandmaster Ernesto Inarkiev
and Woman Grandmaster Dina Belenkaya.
Wow, today is a historic day.
Yes, indeed. Today we finally know the name of a chess player who win the candidate tournament and who will challenge Magnus Carlsen in the next World Championship match.
In November, December 2021. We have been waiting for this for more than a year, and I honestly can't believe that's it. We already know the name. And let us now, first of all, take a look at the pairings of this round 13, which was for sure a decisive one.
Yes, the most important games of this round is, of course, the game NEPOMNIACHTCHI played against Maxime VACHIER-LAGRAVE. It was the last chance for Maxime to win this tournament. And this was a very risky approach from Maxime in the opening, but we will discuss this game later on. This is the game of the day. And the second, the most important game of this day is the game which Alexander Grishuk won in very nice style against Anish Giri. It looks like Anish had a very impressive tournament so far. You remember he played almost every day, the game of the day he played. But today, Alexander Grishuk played just brilliantly and won this match. And actually, because of that, the race between Giri and Jan Nepomniachtchi was over. And we know the winner of the tournament 1 round before the real end of event.
The third matchup of today was Kirill Alexeyenko versus Ding Liren, a very tough match. Unfortunately, didn't come up well for Kirill Alexeyenko, and he's now at the bottom of the table.
Yes, it was a fight for the better position in the cross table and the standings. And the game 4 is a game 1 hour against Fabiano Caruana. Fabiano managed to win this game, and now he is clearly in the top 3. He's sharing 3rd place with Maxime VACHIER-LAGRAVE. And
for sure, we'll have a more precise look at the games later on. But right now, we are thrilled to introduce you our first guest of today. Legendary chess coach and commentator, National Master Bruce Pandolfini. Hello, Bruce. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, my pleasure.
Yes, we are very happy to have you here today on this show, in this historical day when we know the next challenger from the world for the World Championship match. And I think it's very curious to know your opinion. What is the best 3 traits the kid should have to know that he can be a really strong chess player in the future? You have so many years of experience as a coaching, so please name these traits.
Well, it's really hard to say which 3, but if I had to just suddenly pick out 3, I might say you have to be mentally tough at the board, not give up easily. You have to be able to fight back and counterpunch. You have to be able to keep chess positions in your mind and look ahead. If you can't do that, you can't be a chess player. So you'll want to see that in a child. And perhaps most importantly, you have to love the game. If you love chess, it usually loves you back, is how I look at it. So you need to be a fighter. You need to be able to see things in your mind quite deeply and skillfully, and you need to love the game.
Is it some kind of nature the player have it from, I don't know, from the birth, or these traits can be built by trainings, maybe by some luck?
Yeah, you can always make someone a better player with proper training and practice. But it's hard to make up for natural talent. It does mean an extraordinary amount. You need to have that. And if a parent wants to judge whether or not, or coach, whether or not a child has such talent, one thing you can do is when they're sitting at the board, look at their eyes, because chess is a game of spatial relations. So their thoughts are reflected in their eye movement. You can almost tell what they're thinking. In fact, children often think I'm a magician because I can tell them what the moves are in their mind, but it's very obvious. You just look at their eyes, where they're going over the board. So see if they have a lot of focused, attentive eye movement. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
You have taken part and witnessed so many tournaments and chess events in your life. How would you rate this year candidates tournaments in terms of excitement?
Well, I think it was very exciting. Nepo deserved to win. He really played very well, but it was very competitive. Geary played some strong games near the end. He just had a tough day today. I mean, it was a very competitive event. The candidates is always tough. It's never easy. But the players obviously are getting stronger and stronger in the world and younger at the same time. That's a reflection of all the good chess you can see out there, and the software that exists, and the ability to play a lot. You have to play a lot and watch good players play to advance quickly and to reach higher levels. And you have to do it while young. There's so many different chess positions and ideas you must become familiar with. You have to start young. The most difficult thing about being young and learning a lot is that you're going to lose many games, and that can be very discouraging. But if you can get through that period of losing and learning, you're going to be a much stronger player. Anyhow, this candidates was a very fiercely fought event, and I think it was a very good one. I'm very impressed with the players. Who wouldn't be?
You're Fabiano Scarano's first coach. You must know him so well. Could you tell us why do you think he didn't show his best, or simply he did not manage to win this candidate so far?
Well, it's quite difficult. It's difficult for anyone. It's amazing that Magnus Carlsen has stayed at the top now in this competitive world. Mm-hmm. He may continue to do so, but I would not be surprised if NEPOMNIACHCHI mounts a very serious challenge. He's a brilliant player, and when he's on his game, he's very, very tough. So it's going to be a really hard-fought match at the end of the year here. Why did Fabiano not do as well? Well, it's tough. It's hard. These are tough players. Fabiano still did fairly well, but you can't win all the games. You can't win all the time. That's what may be weighing against Carlsen. Can you continue to win all the time? I mean, you reach a certain point, it's just hard to do it. It was amazing that Garry Kasparov, stayed at the top for so many years. It's so hard. It's a testament to their great talents, of course.
Is there something special which lead these players you named? I mean, Magnus Carlsen, Garry Kasparov, you can tell that they have it and the others don't have it. Can we name this?
Yeah, well, they're geniuses. You just have to sit with them for a few minutes and you can tell them. I felt the same thing sitting with Bobby Fischer. Mm-hmm. You just felt it. It just emanates this talent, this power. You feel dwarfed by it. They just know so much more than you do. I mean, I'm not saying all the world's best players feel that. You can sense when someone has real talent. It's hard to hide. It just comes out. And Kasparov and Carlsen obviously have it. I think some of the players in this event also have it. Nepo has it. He's a very gifted player. So.
Actually, Robert Fischer was my favorite player when I was young. I was studying all his games, and he really inspired me much. And it is very interesting. What do you remember about his match against Boris Spassky? It's very famous that you covered the match. And for me, it's still unbelievable how the player can get this gap of 100 points ahead of other players. How this is possible? Yeah. What is it?
Well, Fischer had such a desire to win. Now, Spassky had been his nemesis. Spassky had, after game 2, I think he was 5-0 against Fischer lifetime or something like that. People forget what a great player Boris Spassky was at his height. He was the most feared attacking player in the world. I think it was very difficult to sit across the board from Bobby Fischer. You felt all this energy coming at you, and it can wear you down. Plus the public attention and the pressure on Spassky to perform, I don't think he could do his best at that. Even Fischer didn't play his best in that match. But it was still a great match, one of the greatest matches of all time. It drew so many people to the game. It was front page news in all the world's newspapers. It was on television every day. And many of the very talented players of today and the previous generation were inspired by those games and by Fischer's rise to the top. So Fischer was the inspiration for much of their success, I think. And he did change the game in so many ways. Just a very, very creative force. How does he stack up against Carlsen and Kasparov? Who can say? You can make an argument for any of those players being the world's greatest player, and others coming along. There's just so much talent out there.
Yes, this tension is very hard to explain and to feel. Only if you start playing, only if you're there, you can feel it. Otherwise, you just can't understand what is it. When all world is looking at you, how you play, this is really so much tension.
You've also played a major role in. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead. Sir.
Yeah.
No, I do.
You've also played a major role in promoting chess in popular culture. You've been a consultant to the Queen's Gambit. You were played by Sir Ben Kingsley in Searching for Bobby Fischer. Could you tell us more about those experiences?
Sure, I'd be glad to. Well, Searching for Bobby Fischer was filmed in 1992. And it was a very thrilling experience. I created all the chess positions in it, and I had to train the actors. Of course, the thing with an actor is you don't have to be a good chess player. You have to look like you're a good chess player. That's what matters. And that's not so easy, because the way you grab the pieces and move them are immediately evident to a good player that either you know how to play or not. You can't fake being a good player that way, because years of experience teaches you how to move pieces with a certain elegance. And so the actors had to really train to do that. Now, as far as giving them moves, since they're not natural chess players, you have to be very careful. I would try to create sequences of 3 to 5 half moves with some kind of visual pattern that they could remember. They could better remember the pattern, than the actual moves in some cases. I would also try to explain why the moves had to be played that way, but that wasn't as helpful. It was the patterns more that they kind of remembered. So that's the most important thing with working with actors. You want to make them feel comfortable and give them ways to look more natural. So that now, and for Searching for Bobby Fischer, we were working largely with children, so you had additional problems as far as doing that. For the Queen's Gambit, there was one youngster who played the Beth as a child. She did brilliantly, by the way. She really is a prodigy. She's a very smart kid. But I was working largely with adults. For the Queen's Gambit, I created 92 initial positions to reflect different script points. And thereafter, of course, Garry Kasparov was brought on. He worked on especially 6 of the more critical positions in the series. You know, there's only one Garry Kasparov. Yes, Garry created the final position using an engine and his own creativity. I changed the final moves of the game because of demands on the set for certain filming things. And so some of the last moves had to be changed. And that was my job. Garry wasn't on set, but he would call from all around the world at any time. You never knew when Garry was going to call. So,
yes.
So that was a fun experience.
There is 2 things which I like the most from this show. One is about Beth Harmon's passion to chess. I really can feel how much she likes it, and this was a big surprise for me because Annie Taylor. Okay, she didn't play chess, so it's very hard to play it if you don't have this passion. So did you feel it from the beginning when you just start work with her? Did you teach her how to feel it? Did she like chess now?
Well, she did actually try to learn the moves and some of the ideas. She's a very quick study. She didn't want to prepare very much a particular scene until she came to the board a few minutes beforehand. And she's a very smart person. She grabs things, picks things up very quickly. I think she could have been a very strong chess player if she had learned as a child. She was even a decent chess player by the end of filming. I mean, she was certainly an average player, maybe 12, 13, 1400 in strength, which is
That's a very good level for
impressive for
someone who
someone.
has never played chess before.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the actors can't play at that level. The strongest player who worked on the series was the Luchenko character. He was actually about 17, maybe an 1800 player in real life. So otherwise, most of the actors had to fake it all the way.
And the second moment, which I like the most, is at the beginning of the show when her first teacher teach Beth how to resign, and he just said to her, "And now you resign." Is it your idea?
Sounds a bit controversial to something that you have been teaching, knowing that it was you who told Fabiano to always fight like Botvinnik and never.
That's right.
Never resign.
I might like Botvinnik. I'd always say that. In fact, we studied many of Botvinnik's games together, playing through his game collection and his absolute championship of the Soviet Union, 1941. We looked at a lot of Alyekin's games, endgame books, Smyslov and Levenfish we played through entirely. There was a great tactics book by Lisitsyn we worked carefully on, and other game collections. Certainly we looked at Bobby Fischer's games intently and very thoroughly. But youngsters don't want to analyze and consider lots of side variations. They want to get right to the core right away. And it's almost better to play many games than to study some games very thoroughly. It depends. Some games have a wealth of information, and you need to get a lot more. But there's this urge on the part of young people to play and play and play. And you know, when you play speed chess, for example, even though you can't analyze as well or as thoroughly, it's very intense, and there's a certain threshold of concentration that you cross that can be very useful for general play. So you have to be very intense while playing speed chess. If you let your mind wander, you lose. You hang something.
And it was also. Yes, go on.
No, that's go ahead.
Yeah, it was also you who gave Queen's Gambit its name. Could you tell us more about how did that happen?
Yes, that's very interesting. First of all, the novel was written by a well-known Hollywood screenwriter and a very good writer. And I was the consultant for Random House Publications, a big publisher in America. And they gave me this manuscript to read in 1982. And it didn't quite have a final title. And I came in and I met with Walter Tevis, the writer, and his editor. And I told them what I thought didn't quite work with some of the chess, although I loved the story. I loved the character. I thought it was a larger-than-life character that kind of jumped off the page and very appropriate for the time. I thought it was great that a woman would rise to the top of the chess world, that we needed that. And Walter thought of this on his own. I mean, this is his idea. Anyhow, discussing the book, I pointed out what I thought was a problem. And Walter, being a chess player, didn't like any of my ideas. He said, "No, I don't like it." He was in love with the Levenfish variation, for example. He loved the name Levenfish. But it didn't quite work, in my opinion, because a lot of people weren't playing Levenfish variation. So things like that. So he wasn't interested. So as I was leaving the office, saying goodbye to both of them, I said, you know, I think the right title should be The Queen's Gambit. And at that point, the editor said, wait a second, and brought me kind of back into the office. We had a 15 or 20-minute discussion after that point, and suddenly I was hired to be the consultant on the novel. I just threw out the title as I was leaving.
Mr. Pandolfini, maybe the last...
Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Maybe the last question for today, in order not to keep you for too long. What do you think about Nepo's chances against Magnus now that he won the candidates?
I think their chances are very good. I would put them around 50%. I mean, I think he has a real chance of beating Carlsen. I think it's hard to stay at the top all the time, to be at your best. As ingenious and gifted as Carlsen is, he obviously is brilliant, you know, a one-of-a-kind mind. But Nepo is very gifted, And I think he has a solid chance at mounting a real challenge. It'll be very interesting, very intense. It'll depend how he gets off the ground. If he gets off on a good foot, watch out, Magnus.
Yes. I'm so glad that we had a chance to talk with you today. I so much appreciate your love to chess. I can feel it even through the screen. And thank you very much for all the things you've done for our chess world. And I wish you new successes and hope to meet you in life one day.
It was an honor to have you with us. Thank you for being on our show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Good luck in the future coverages. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, it's so, you know, I feel
lifetime moment.
Yeah.
It's not every day that you manage to have such a guest on your show.
For me, it's just unbelievable. How can you take this love to chess through all your life and manage to find something really exciting, really amazing for the other part of the world? How to explain your love to chess to another people? And this is amazing that Bruce had a chance to do it and managed to find it in such a beautiful way.
Yeah, I guess it's through for your true love. Yes, natural. I wanted to say it. I forgot the word.
It's so natural when you feel love.
Determination. This is what I wanted to say. Yeah.
Yes, it's a very, very good start. So let's come back to the candidate tournaments. We should talk a bit about games, a bit about more of the games. I should remind that our games, what we are going to break down today, is of course the main game. Yan Nepomniachtchi played against Maxim VACHIER-LAGRAVE, and the second game, what we will break down today, is game Alexander Grishuk played against Anish Giri. But before that, I want to tell you what happened in another games. So in the game, Van Hao played against Fabiano Caruana. Van Hao chose quite solid line to play. It seems like he wanted to keep the situation under control. Starting from the opening, he tried to play it very quiet, slow game with positional slow moves. And it felt that he is outplaying Fabiano. We got the feeling, this is very standard situation, that his knight was looking better than the bishop of Fabiano. But at the end, the things turned out that that Fabiano just got better position and smoothly won the game. And in the game 4, Alexeyenko against Dinkliren, it was a very nice combination, which Dinkliren found, but this is very unusual situation when both players missed the key point of this combination. So this combination actually was losing for Dinkliren, but he managed to win it because Alexeyenko also believed in this combination and lost in very nice style.
Yeah, that's pretty curious to see. I am very excited to see the games, but before we go straight to those ones, we are about to be joined by our second guest of today, European champion, second of Caruana in the World Championship. So, did I say Caruana? Forget about that. Second of Karakin in the World Championship match. Also, second of Yan Nepomniachtchi here, Grandmaster Vladimir Potkin.
Hello, good evening, Vladimir.
Good evening, friends.
We congratulate you with
Hello, Ernesto.
such amazing success. One round before the finish of the tournament, and Yan already a clear winner. This is amazing. Our congratulations.
Yeah, thanks very much, friends.
Yes. First of all, please tell us about the strategy on this tournament, because it felt like Yan playing like a machine. He has a clear strategy on the tournament, control all the rivals and winning the more weak players. Was this a strategy, and how did you manage to make it work?
Well, of course, I had to admire that we had a sort of a plan, and finally it worked out. But of course, we had, I think, a plan for first 3 games, and then we already were thinking how to deal with this according to the tournament situation.
Actually, this is very interesting. What is happening in the team, what coach are doing in the team. This is not only, of course, opening preparation, and we heard a lot of critics about Jan that he feels difficulty in controlling his emotions in the most critical moments, and we see in this tournament that he fully controlled the situation all the time. He never was really worse in the positions, and it feels like he was calm down during all the event. How did you make the mental preparation? How did you prepare Jan for these games? How you managed to solve this issue?
First of all, I have to say that with Jan, our collaboration already more than 10 years, so I know Jan quite well, and of course, it's a great job of our team and Jan personally, that he is now already a completely different player. He's much more stronger, and as we spoke with Jan before even the cycle of Grand Prix started, that he should qualify to the candidates and be able to win this event. Not only just to qualify, but to already be such a stronger player that he should already competing for the first place. And I think that Jan also is quite dismotivated in this particular moment, and he made a big job like physically, mentally, and of course his chess also is much more better. So it's I think all of this is a result of big work that Jan is doing, and I hope and I really see that he has more reserves to be stronger before the match.
Yes, very interesting. You already have an experience playing a match against Magnus Carlsen. You was in the team of Sergei Karyakin, and actually this is also was a big success for Sergei. He drew the match and lost only on the tiebreak. So already looking forward for the match Jan against Magnus Carlsen. What conclusions from that match, from Sergei's match, you can make? So what Sergei should done differently to win it?
Well, I think I can't reveal everything. Yeah, so what should be done another way? Because of course, Sergei and our team, I think we did a great job, and Sergei was competing on equal terms with Magnus and was very close to win. But Jan is of course a different player, and I think he will have his own way of preparation and playing with Magnus. They already have a big story ahead, playing together, and like they already know each other very well. So I think we will work out a sort of a plan right after the candidates will be finished. So there is not a big time still. So it's half an year is quite actually just you can sit down and write a good plan and start working.
Yeah, talking about history, this is really unusual that Jan may be one of the only players who have a positive score against Magnus Carlsen. In classical game, he's leading 4-1. He won 4 games and lost only 1 game to Magnus Carlsen. This is really impressive. And according to this, what can we expect from this match? Thinking about it.
Do you think that Jan is a difficult, psychologically speaking, opponent for Magnus?
I think Jan, of course, it's quite difficult to opponent for Magnus. Magnus admitted himself. Maybe it's also a question of styles, so they have completely different styles, and Jan always is motivated. But up to this moment, I think quite a big job should be done still to compete with Magnus and have chances for winning this match. So it's a long time ahead, and so I believe that Jan have all the reserves to do this job.
And do you think that this pause of a year, more than a year, could actually help you to win the tournament?
Of course, if the tournament will continue, it will be another one. Already the next round will be completely different. So I just take the things that happened, yeah. So we were playing, we were able to continue, but the tournament was divided for two parts, and everyone were in equal terms preparing to this tournament. And I think all the players were not losing their time, and it's very important that actually online chess kept them in very good shape all the time, and especially Jan used his time for playing and preparing, so all the time he was focused on chess, and it came back with a good result.
And you mentioned online chess. You being an active chess player yourself, European champion, do you think that this new normal is going to change the way chess used to be? And if yes, well, it has already changed, obviously, but do you think this change is positive or not so clear? And also the hybrid chess, the new formats, what do you think about these factors?
No, I think chess players are quite happy people that we have this possibility to use online events and playing chess online. So it's definitely a good story for chess, but of course nothing can substitute real chess, and we see how the tension and how dramatic it could be already in this candidates tournament. I think it's a really exciting event, and I'm much looking forward that there will be more and more chess events coming back to play and live, and but of course online chess will be a part of our life, and very important one.
Okay, and we have the last question for you. Vladimir, please tell us the one great thing about Jan, which nobody knows, but should.
Jan, well, hard to reveal some really big secret, but I think also much more common that with Jan we have a really nice cats. Yeah, that Jan also have a cat from my native city, Rybinsk. So maybe it's also part of a luck I was trying to give through the favorite cat of Jan, Richard.
So he have a magic cat. This is nice.
Well, I'm not so sure if this is an answer, if this is a fair answer, because Jan having a hat and a dog, this one we already knew looking at his Instagram. Cat Richie and dog Snow. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Jan is making a big job with his pets, also with the help of his girlfriend Sijana, who is now professional with making this kind of collaborations with dog.
Okay, we should not forget that you still have one round to go, and I think it's still important to finish it in the good, positive way, to finish this as a tournament as a great success. Once again, congratulations for you, for your team, for the Jan, and all success for tomorrow, and of course for the match, which is going to come.
Hope you will start preparing starting from tonight for the match.
Yeah, what to do? Of course, the tournament is continuous, and we will do our best till to the end. Thanks a lot for inviting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vladimir. Good luck.
Thank you. Good luck. Goodbye.
Yes, you see, maybe others can celebrate, but the coaches, I think, the last who finish in their job.
Yeah, that's true. That's totally true. We were pretty lucky today to have two such amazing guests.
Yes, and I want to admire one thing from Vladimir's interview, that he said that 3 years ago already, when the cycle just started, they have in their plan that Jan should win candidate tournaments.
Yeah, that also that also attracted my mind. So they were so determined that the fact that he won might not even surprise them.
Yes, I'm curious if they have a further plan, you know, how to beat Magnus may already...
I'm pretty sure they do.
Yes, maybe
they do
already
have a plan. They already have a plan. Well, Vladimir Potkin is the coach of the whole Russian national team, so These guys, they are true professionals.
Yes. Okay, so let's take a look at the game. So how the Jan won this tournament? What is his
Let's see
decisive
what
game?
happened in the game.
So in this game, Jan had a white pieces against Maxim VACHIER-LAGRAVE, and the tournament situation was difficult for Maxim. He needed to win this game with black. It was the only chance for Maxim to keep fighting for the first place. Obviously, keeping in mind that against Fabiano Caruana, Jan take control over the game and didn't really give any chance for Fabiano, Maxim decided to surprise Jan, avoiding any theoretical fight, and just played the line which is not even considered as a sideline. It's considered like a run opening.
Does it even have a name?
Yes, at least not yet. Yes, what is wrong with this opening, Dina?
Well, black doesn't fight for the center. Hello. What about d4, e4, e5? Well, d5. Okay, black cannot fight for... No, he can. I mean, what about the center? Hello?
Yeah, this is the basic rule of playing the game. The first rule how you should play the opening is to fight for the center with your pawns. And avoiding this rule, Maxim put himself in the difficult situation, because now white gets a space advantage immediately after d4, d5. White is have a serious advantage in the center, and now have much more better positions for the pieces.
Looking at the opening, I could even say that the final result is a present for Maxim.
Yeah, we can say that. So what is the point of playing like this for black? Black tries to avoid any strategical typical situations. So generally it can be very difficult for the white player to decide what to do, to which positions put the pawns, to which positions put the pieces. And this is what Maxim was trying to do in this game. He wanted to avoid any typical ideas and just to make Jan think from the first moves.
Just to create.
Yes, but what Jan did was very natural. He put his pieces on the good positions. We can see that knight went for c3 and queen went for c2 in order to prepare e4 and to gain more space.
With total control of the whole position.
Yes, and why we have the rule in chess that you should fight for the center with your pawns? Because later on you start to feel that your pieces don't have enough air. And this is what actually happened with Maxim. So it seems like he finished development, but now he just don't know what to do next. His pieces cannot go forward. He cannot open lines in the good way for him. And he started to face difficulties starting from this moment. Now he needs to be creative, but it's very hard to be creative in such a situation.
In such a passive position.
Yes, this is unpleasant. And actually the further part of the game was about black trying to complicate the things, but at the same time being worse. And of course, this was difficult for Maxim. So let's see how he tried to unbalance the situation more. Knight e8, black want first of all opening the bishop, and also want to put the pawns forward in a good moment. e5, maybe e5.
Trying to take at least some kind of a space on the king side.
I also want to mention that this bishop is quite passive because he only watch on the d5 pawn and have no really future right now. So white plays very naturally, just continue development of the pieces. Knight d6, b3, rook e8, bishop e5. So this is very unpleasant decision because white is trading the only active piece for black, is the bishop on g7. All other pieces is not really active for black. e6, finally trying to open the center. Actually, this is interesting moment of what to do. I feel that Jan still tried to keep it under control. So he tried to play the moves, which is exactly good, without any unclear things in it. For example, here he could trade his bishop, not for the bishop, but he could take the knight on the 6 to double black's pawns. And after that, this bishop looks really grim. I don't really see way how to improve this bishop. Yes, after knight d4, white have a serious advantage, and these pawns are weak. This bishop on b7 is bad, and this would be quite unpleasant for Maxim.
So he wanted to keep it at the same time good, but solid, and to take some time and to see what would be happening on the on the Grishuk position, just to keep an eye on Grishuk and to see maybe a draw could be enough for me. You never know. So he wanted to avoid all the complications, all the possible complications.
Yes, the dangerous things in bishop takes d6 is because you keep in opposite pieces. So black will have bishop, you will have knight, and this can be something. After bishop takes g7, nothing can happen because you have the same pieces, and you definitely know that your knight on e3 is better than his knight on d6. So this is total control. Rook b1, this moves very natural, and finally this moves shows to us that Maxim's strategy didn't really work, because after e5 he accept that he have to defend, he closing the position and trying to keep it at least equal. Now we can definitely see that he just can't open the lines. So after e5, e4 is very natural. What Jan? Okay, now d2 first, f5. a3, trying to move back the only active black piece, the knight on c5. And this position is very interesting because usually there is one of the tip for the player. You should ask yourself which of your pieces is the worst one.
Which is your worst piece? Which piece doesn't work? That's right. That's the one that I always ask myself. But here the problem is that it's not just one piece. It's all the pieces. At least all the minor pieces are bad. And you don't really know. You don't really see how to improve them.
Yes, this is unique positions when all your minor pieces is bad. It's very hard to have it, and this is the price what Maxim have to play trying to complicate the situations. He avoided all the trades, but then he get the bad pieces.
Yeah, sometimes it works, but unfortunately it didn't in this game.
Yes. So after e4, once again, Jan controls the situation completely. He have a clear plan of playing c5 and just start to crush in the queen side. And also black don't have any counterplay on the king side. At this moment, things looked very gloomy for Maxim. It felt like he will just lose this game after some few moves. But next moves, he made very good moves.
He tried to create some activity and some threats on the king side, maybe with potential march of the g pawn, but once again, it wasn't enough.
Yes, and actually for the top players it's easy to understand, and when you have 3 bad pieces, the march will need to nowhere. You cannot attack without the pieces. So 92, now c5 is already a big threat. So it takes g3, and this is probably was the moment once again showed to us that Jan tried to keep the control. This is his first goal in this game, because if he would like to find for advantage, he should take with h pawn, keeping the possibility to play a4 at some moment, and this would still keep his chances as a seriously better. But he decided, but the problem of this move, of course, then if black would play h5, h4, then h file can be opened at some moment, and once again this is complications which Jan tried to avoid in any case. So after f takes g3, he took f with the f pawn, and once again he kept all the position in symmetrical way, but all his pieces is just slightly better here. His pawns is better, pieces is better, and it's the same but better. But this gave Maxim opportunity to keep the position playable. Maxim played the only possible way. He played c5 and stopped white's activity on the queen side. This is a wonderful decision, after which white just can't get a serious advantage already. White is still better, but this is already more or less playable for black.
Now d takes c6 would be a serious mistake, because this would actually open the bishop on b7, and after
d takes
c6
then
and
c5.
c5, there would be a plan to attack the e4 pawn. So yeah, but of course white didn't want to do this one.
Yes, white take with b takes c5. knight takes c5, this is a pawn sacrifice. But we can see that now at least black have wonderful knight on c5, and this black squares is really good for the black pieces. And generally speaking, now white's bishop is not really good, because white don't have a future for opening the light diagonals, and this gives the black a decent counterplay. After rook takes b6, queen d8, even the extra pawn doesn't lead to anything special for white. The game, of course, continued, and Jan tried his chances. We just will quickly show what was happening there, but Maxim managed to defend this position quite well. Once again, they trade all the heavy pieces. And later we can see the difference. Now the bishop on a6 is very good because he can attack c4 square, and white bishop have to be defender.
Ernesto, I have a question for you. You being a professional chess player, professional coach, what do you think about this opening strategy? Going for a position where you know that you will be suffering, but still having some hopes, trying to complicate, trying to swindle. If you heard of this amazing new book that came out this year, 2020, The Art of Swindling, would you advise someone? Would you give such an advice to someone to play this awkward opening?
This is okay. As a coach, definitely not.
And as a player?
But I understand as a player how the player came up with such an idea, because before the game you are going through the many possibilities what you can play, and what the player should keep in mind. It's not on the opening choice, but also the character of his opponent. He needs to feel in which position his opponent will feel uncomfortable. And what is the most important thing is not even always about the real evaluation of the position. It's even more about what your opponent think about this position. So if you make him think that he is worse, that he is in trouble, it is much more important than actually get the advantage. And then if you choose the line, you should find that line which makes your opponent think that he is in trouble. And this is, of course, very difficult to do, especially in such a top level.
Wow, nice, very nice. Okay, so what happened next?
So they just make a few moves, and the draw was just agreed, because it's very difficult for white to improve this position. As we can see, this knight on c5 is just perfect piece, which controls all the situation, and white cannot convert this extra pawn. I found it very curious that in the second lap of this event, Nepomniachtchi actually didn't win his rivals. He made 3 draws against main players, against Fabiano Caruana, today against Maxim Vachier-Lagrave, and against Anish Giri, and won 2 other games. But this was a perfect strategy to keep leading and to control the tournament situation.
Yes, that was a very, very wise strategy indeed. And we even heard on the press conference Jan Nepomniachtchi saying that at some moment at this game, he just decided to have a look at the Grishuk game, and once he saw that Grishuk was winning, he told himself, okay, let's just exchange everything and keep it simple and go for a draw.
Yeah, this is okay. Finally, we see that sometimes you can win just making a draw.
Yeah, that's a very, very particular thing about chess.
Yes. Okay, so now let's go to the second game, what was important for overall standings. It is a game Alexander Grishuk played against Anish Giri. I should say that Alexander Grishuk plays here very risky, very stylish. He even called himself as a terrorist.
As a terrorist, yeah.
In the press conference.
I have to say it's just him being himself.
Yes. I think that Alexander Grishuk, one of the best player in psychology of chess, because he's always calculating not only the opening, not only evaluation of the position, but also try to feel what his opponent's thinking right now at this moment. And what he was telling on the press conference is that he felt that Anish will think a lot about risk in this game. Should he make a draw, or he should try to play for win with black? And he wanted, his strategy was to use this moment, to use this uncertainty in Anish Giri feelings and to make him nervous. And actually, they played a very high-level game.
And this is what happened.
Yes. So first, very interesting opening choice. Anish chose Bogo India online with this bishop b4 is considering a sideline. It's still very classical way of playing, but it's not the main line in this Queen's Indian defense. Bishop d2, c5, and this shows the ambitions of Anish. He wanted to unbalance position strategically, so he ready to put his pawn on the flank instead of fighting for the center. But at the same time, before pawn controls a lot of squares in the white's positions. So they went for this, and we can see that this pawn controls c3, a3, and this leads to some problems for the b1 knight. Dina, did you ever play such line?
I actually enjoy a lot this kind of positions with especially the Boga Indian and the Rogozin, and I was very, very curious as a player myself to see how this game would continue. And I have to say that I'm a little disappointed for Black, for Anish to lose this one. Well, as Dana mentioned yesterday, what is really intriguing is the tension, and starting from today we don't have any tension anymore.
Yes, and there is very special thing about the tension. It's not only about how you face it, how you feel on it, but also can you show your best chess feeling it. But Vinnik said about world champions that this is actually the main difference between them and just the strong players, that they can show their best chess in such important moments, in the critical moments they can show their best chess. So let's continue what happened in the game. This setup is more or less theoretical, so both players was following the theory. Queen on b3 is the point of the move queen b3 is to provoke a5 move. To make this b5 square weak. So now a3, anyway this pawn is too strong, it must be changed. Knight a6, and we see what happens. Now we can make conclusions of the opening play. This c4 and d4 pawn are very strong, they control a lot of squares in the center, and black pieces should find the places. It's not really easy for black pieces find the good places. So rook d1, this is a more or less natural move, and the first key moment comes here. It's still theory. I should mention that I even found a game, actually. Anatoly Karpov played in this position against Viktor Korchnoi. But the real novelty comes on the next move. After bishop takes g2, Alexander decided to take with the king. Anatoly Karpov was taking with the knight and then was regrouping the knight to e3. This was his plan. What Alexander doing, he planned to move his knight to c2, so this is absolutely different side, to press b4. So after king g2, this is his plan. Knight goes to c2, then attack b4, and forcing to trade these pawns. h5, this is, I think, very, very nice touch. This shows that actually Anish came to this round to win this game. He was trying to make it as unbalanced as possible.
And this was the moment where Grishuk felt happy.
Yes.
And excited.
Okay, so now c2, b takes e3 is must, and this is what we can see now. The b6 pawn is very weak suddenly. We can see that through the opening, Grishuk had a absolutely clear strategy. Queen come to b3 to provoke a5, then a3, and knight come to c2 to force b takes a3, and now b6 is weak. So finally he is leading the game. Still the position is complicated, b6 is not really easy to attack, and this looks like very promising moment for Anish, because at this moment he had 20 extra minutes and the position is really unbalanced. He has h4 idea, he have b5 idea at some moment, maybe he can take on d4 and then use c5 and e5 squares for his knights. So it looks like very interesting situation for him. And I should say that in next few moves, Grishuk just outplayed Anish. So what Anish actually did in his previous games against Fabiano Caruana in great positional style when he was choosing the better squares for the pieces, this is actually what happened today against him, so Grishuk was just better in this style. Rook a b1, knight e6, rook b5. We see that b6 becoming real target already. After rook d2 b1, it would be a problem how to defend this pawn. And here come the first inaccurate move from Giri. He played rook e8, which is look like a very clever move. When I saw it, it reminded me of his game against Fabiano Caruana. If you remember, at that moment, it was very clever and very deep move.
Yeah, that's true.
But the problem of this position is that black needs counterplay. So, Dina, what would be your idea? How black should start the counterplay here?
Well, we have this this special saying in Russian. Once you said A, you should say B, which applies perfectly to chess. So once you said A
Yes.
to h5 pawn, why don't you continue pushing with h4?
Yes, absolutely. And this was the best move, the best practical decision. What is the most important in such decisions, that after that, this pawn is very annoying for the white player. You don't, first of all, you don't know what he wants. Maybe he will take on g3, maybe he will play h3, and this is annoying because it's much better when you know the plans of your opponent. And from the point of view, analytical point of view, I should also say that this was the best move, after which black will definitely solve all the problems and would get enough counterplay, and the position would be around equal. But Anish didn't play it. He played rook f2 e8, and next two moves, on my opinion, is just brilliant for Grishuk. First move is h4. We already know what for. So now black don't have this h4 idea, and it becoming difficult for black to find the counterplay, because d5 not possible, taking on d4 it looks like early. So
it is also a very typical reaction to block the h pawn, any pawn which advances like this to grab the space, like wherever your opponent plays a5 or a4, you usually do want to answer with the same way. And by the way, Ernesto, where do you think? Well, yes, why do you think Giri played it? I mean, he definitely knew h4 would come. So what was his idea?
Sometimes the players don't really know is h4 is good idea or not, but maybe it was just his idea was to make an heir for the king. And he just thought that pawn on h5 is better than on h6, so maybe he considered that this is just useful move. So maybe it was not about attack from his point of view, just useful move. Maybe this was his idea, or maybe he just forgot about h4. So maybe he wanted to play h5 first and then just find something better, and this is how it happens sometimes.
No, I don't believe he forgot it.
Okay, so he played g6, looks very natural move, but actually once again this is quite slow, so black should be more accurate here. And the next move is also a brilliant move from Grishuk. After f3, the situation becoming really difficult for black, because now e4 is protected very well, and now it is hard to understand how black should start the counterplay at all. I believe that practically this is a very difficult moment for Giri. He had 20 extra minutes, but he couldn't find a way how to play this position. Computer actually finds the way, but all the ways computer plays is absolutely unnatural on my point of view. So, okay, I will just show one of the idea, which is more or less sensible. This is knight c7, rook b2, and rook e to c8. What is the point? To rid of the most weak spot in the position. Yes, so what is the weakest point of black's position, Dina?
Well, for me, it would be either b6 or d6, but definitely b6 first, because it is already on the open file.
Yes, absolutely. So black's idea is to play b5 next move. So, for example, if white would do the same what Grishuk did in the game, knight f1, then b5 will come, and this will be just a trade of the pawns, because the rook from c8 attacks the knight on c2. And this would lead to equality, but...
yeah, we should show this one. So this is not winning any piece at all, because there is rook takes c2.
Yes. But it's of course difficult to make such a move like knight c7. Why it is difficult? Because computer of course calculates that it works, but for the player, you don't sure. It's hard to believe that this is works.
You don't know, right? You don't have any magical advisor in your head. I mean, I hope they do not have that.
Okay, at least now we know they don't. If they would,
yeah,
we
Giri
can
would win this one.
Yes, and if you don't sure that b5 is working, then knight c7 is just not just strange move to make if b5 is not working. So that's why this move he didn't play, and he played knight d7. It looks also very logical because you protect the b6 pawn, but the bad thing about this move that knight on d7 is now really passive. And next Grishuk moves prove and show why Giri's play is not really enough to get equality. So knight f1, wonderful idea. Knight is going to d5, and now it's already a serious problem. We can feel it already. Yes. So Giri decided now already to simplify the position, and it looks like he tried to change something, but the problems are still here. And the knight can come to d5, so white get everything. d6, b6 is weak. Okay, knight can't fly.
Not yet.
b6 and d6 is weak, and the white's knight is better than the knight on c6, so it's too much. And the rooks finally are also better. It is remarkable that after queen e6, knight e7, queen d2, computer gives like already almost 3 pawns advantage for white.
Even though technically there is no pawn, no extra pawn anymore.
Yes.
Not yet.
The problem is that black don't have any counterplay and just cannot defend b6, d6, so all the weaknesses is just start to fall in. And Giri tried the last chance to make it more complicated, but actually it's just shortened the game.
Isn't this like harakiri? May I call it? F5?
Yes, it is. It is, yes, it is. It is, and it is beautiful one, yeah. So after queen d6, Grishuk have everything. He have extra pawn, he have better pieces, and everything he can dream about. I just show one nice line after queen takes e3, queen g6, king f8, f6. It is not possible to defend against mate. Further part of the game is not really interesting much. We just quickly show what happened. Grishuk just took all the pawns he could, and Giri was forced to resign. At this moment, you can see that in the knight's endgame, without 2 pawns, no chance to continue the game. I should say that pretty impressive performance from Grishuk, because he outplayed the Giri in his territory. This was pure positional game, and he just was much more accurate in this kind of play.
This actually shows once again Grishuk's natural talent, and many experts say if it wasn't for his time troubling and his gambling with time, he would have been already at least a candidate.
Yes, this is really impressive. Generally, about the style of Grishuk is playing this tournament, it seems like he ready to play on any territory. With Alexeyenko, he was playing sharp lines. With Dinkleren, he also was trying to complicate the matters. With Giri, he's playing positional style, so he can play it all. And also, he is one of the players who finally decide the overall standings of the tournament. So let us look on the standings after this round.
Yeah, let's have a look at what this round 13 brought us to.
Okay, so we definitely can say that Jan Nepomniachtchi is a 1-point lead ahead of Anish Giri.
Jan Nepomniachtchi is leading the tournament with 8.5 points out of 13.
We should explain why did we congratulate Jan already for the win, because the first tiebreak is the game between the players, and as Jan won mini match against Anish Giri was 1.5 point against half. Even if he lose his game tomorrow and Anish will win, they will just have the same points, but this tiebreak will be in favor of Jan, and he will be the winner of the tournament anyway.
Yeah, which means that no games will be played on the 28th of April.
Yes. Okay, so on the third position is Fabiano Caruana with 7 points. They share in the place with Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, who also have 7 points. On the fifth position, Alexander Grishuk with 6.5.
Then we have Dean Lorena with 6 points. And at the bottom of the tournament, we have 2 players, Wan Hao with 5 out of 13 and Kirill Alexeyenko with 4.5 out of 13.
Yes, so now we already know the winner, but there is still a lot of interesting games we will have tomorrow. So
let us now look at the pairings of the round 14 of the final round of tomorrow.
Yes, I think the most interesting game would be the game Fabiano Caruana having white pieces against Alexander Grishuk. We know that Grishuk like a chess terrorist.
He will try to explode something once again.
Yes, and he's still fighting for the third place. He has the chances to be third. And of course, Caruana still wants to show his best, so this can be a very exciting game. In another game, Anish Giri will have white pieces against Alexeyenko Kirill. Of course, we expected that this would be one of the decisive game of the tournament. Still, Kirill have difficulties with playing with the black pieces in this tournament. He didn't get a half point with black pieces so far, so for him it will be challenging. And also, I believe that Anish will want to make a revenge to finish the tournament in the very strong point, to show once again very strong play. In the next game, Dink Liren will have white pieces against Jan Nepomniachtchi.
This is the pairings that which I am the most curious of, because like I cannot even imagine what or how Jan Nepomniachtchi will be playing tomorrow. I mean, he will be already celebrating, but still there will be a game, and he will need to be serious, and he will need to show some decent level.
I think that the player who already qualified for the World Championship match should already think about which message he is sending to the chess world. So he need to show to everybody that he is now the main. Yes, and from this point of view, I think every game is important, and of course it will be remarkable if Jan will even win this game or played it convincingly. Especially, don't forget that Dink Liren is also one of the players who put some problems and the pressure on the world champion. And for Dink Liren, of course, this would be a challenging moment because for him it was a difficult tournament, and to win the winner, the challenger in the last round, it's like, you know, telling after that, okay, it was not my tournament, but I beat Nepomniachtchi.
I did put the final full stop.
Yes, next time I will coach him. And the game number 4 is Maxime Vachier-Lagrave playing against Wan Hao. It's very hard to understand what the players feels right now. My feeling would be that they just let it go, and we can see extremely interesting tactical game.
I would put on Maxime because Wan Hao is clearly not in the best shape of his, and we could see that from his last interview from the round 12, when he said that he was playing like a 2200 player and couldn't calculate anything.
Yes, the last game is difficult for everybody. So, despite of we have a clear winner of the tournament already today, we expect very exciting games for tomorrow. I want to remind that we have now 8 best players in the world playing right now, right here, and this was amazing day, I think.
Yeah, that was, as I said it in the beginning of our show, that was a historical day.
Yes, so please put likes, don't forget to subscribe on our channel, and see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye-bye.